Good morning. I am Dr. Asghar Healthwala. I am a student of batch 21, Rehan AI Teacher Training Institute. Today, uh, we will discuss the secrets to building lasting habits. We will ask questions to Chat GPT and listen to Chat GPT for its expert and detailed answers. So, hi ChatGPT,
Hey there. I'm glad you're here. What can I help you with today?
thank you. I will ask questions about the secrets to building lasting habits. Please give detailed answers to understand this topic. So, my first question is
Of
what,
course.
what exactly is a habit and why do habits shape our daily lives?
That's a great starting point. So, a habit is basically a behavior we repeat regularly, often subconsciously, until it becomes automatic. They shape our daily lives because so much of what we do, our routines, our productivity, even our health, comes from these repeated actions. In short, once a behavior is habitual, it doesn't require as much conscious effort, which is why they shape who we are and how we move through each day.
Okay. And why do some habits stick while others fade away quickly?
That's a really important point. Habits that stick usually have a few things going for them. First, they're tied to a clear trigger, like a time of day, a location, or an existing routine. They also deliver some kind of reward, even if it's small, like a sense of accomplishment or stress relief. And often, habits that stick align with our identity. So, if we see ourselves as a healthy person, for example, we're more likely to stick to a fitness habit. In contrast, habits that lack a strong cue or reward or that clash with how we see ourselves tend to fade faster.
Okay. And how much of our daily behavior is driven by habits rather than conscious decisions?
It's actually a huge portion. Research suggests that around 40 to 45% of what we do each day is driven by habits rather than active decision making. So, a lot of our routine actions, whether it's what we eat, how we work, or even how we spend leisure time, are habitual. This is why changing habits can be so powerful because you're influencing a huge percentage of your day to day life.
Okay. Can small habits really lead to big life changes over time?
Absolutely. Small habits are like compound interest for your life. Even tiny actions like drinking a glass of water each morning or taking a 10-minute walk, when done consistently, add up. Over weeks, months, or years, they reshape your identity and outcomes. So even if a habit feels small, it can have enormous ripple effects if you stick with it.
Okay. Like running, jogging every day for 15 to 20 minutes, it is a good habit. If it is regularly done, I think it is also very effective.
Exactly. Running or jogging daily, even just 15 or 20 minutes, can be incredibly powerful. Not only does it build physical endurance and improve cardiovascular health, but it also boosts your mood, helps reduce stress, and builds a sense of discipline. And because it's a small, manageable chunk of time, it's easier to stick to, which means it can become a long term habit with real impact.
Right. And why is building good habits often more difficult than breaking bad ones?
Yeah, that's a common struggle. A big reason is that bad habits often provide immediate gratification. They might be easy, comforting, or give a quick reward, even if the long term effects are harmful. Good habits, on the other hand, tend to have delayed rewards. They take time and effort before you really see the payoff. Plus, habits are tied to emotions and identity, so breaking old patterns can feel like a loss. But with consistency and a strong why, good habits absolutely can form.
Okay. And what is the science behind how habits are formed in the brain?
Great question. So, habits form through a process called chunking in the brain. When we repeat a behavior, the brain starts grouping it into a loop: cue, routine, and reward. The basal ganglia, a part of the brain, is key here. It automates these loops, freeing up mental energy. Basically, the more a habit is repeated, the more ingrained it becomes as a subconscious pathway. So eventually, it just runs on autopilot.
Okay. And what is the habit loop and
The
how does it work?
Yeah, so the habit loop is this three-part cycle. First, there's a cue, which is a trigger that reminds you to act, like a time, a place, or an emotional state. Then there's the routine, which is the behavior itself, what you actually do. And finally, there's the reward, which is the benefit you get, whether it's a feeling of comfort, achievement, or something tangible. When these three steps repeat, the brain links them together, and that's how a habit forms and strengthens. Once it's established, you can almost run on autopilot because that loop is so well worn in your brain.
Fine. So habit loop, you said has three steps. One is cue, means starting. We starting to develop habit. Then a routine, that is, it becomes a routine. And the third thing is we get the reward. Very nice.
Exactly. And what's really cool is once you understand that loop, you can actually tweak or redesign it. You can introduce a different cue, adjust your routine, or rethink the reward so it works for you. And once you do that, it becomes a lot easier to stick to a new habit in the long run.
Okay, thank you. And how long does it actually take to build a lasting habit? Is the 21-day rule true?
The 21-day rule is a bit of a simplification. Research shows it really varies. On average, it might take anywhere from 18 to 254 days, depending on the habit and the person. Some habits form in just a few weeks, but others take months. The key is consistency. So if you keep showing up, no matter how long it takes, you'll wire that habit in.
The question is, how long does it actually take to build a lasting habit? Is the 21-day rule
So we
true?
touched on this a bit earlier, but just to clarify, the 21-day rule is more of a myth than a hard science. Studies suggest it really depends. On average, it can take anywhere from a few weeks to several months. The key factor is consistency. So the more regularly you repeat the behavior, the more likely he is to stick, regardless of the exact number of days.
Okay. So, what role does consistency play in forming habits?
Consistency is absolutely crucial. Each time you repeat a behavior, you're reinforcing that neural pathway, making it easier for the brain to rely on it. When you're consistent, even if it's small daily steps, you're essentially training your mind. Over time, that repetition builds a habit you don't have to think about.
Okay. And how do emotions and motivation influence habit formation?
Oh, they're huge drivers. Emotions can make habits stick or fall apart. Positive emotions like pride after a workout or calm after meditation reinforce the habit, making you want to do it again. Motivation, especially at the start, acts as fuel. So when you feel inspired or have a strong personal reason, it pushes you to keep going. As you build the habit, though, that emotional reward can help keep you anchored, especially on days when motivation dips.
Okay. And why do people fail to maintain new habits after a strong start? It is a very interesting
Yeah,
thing.
of course. So a lot of times people start strong because they have a burst of motivation or a clear goal, but then life gets busy or the novelty fades and their routine breaks down. Also, if the habit's not tied to a strong identity or they don't get immediate rewards, they can lose momentum. The trick is to keep anchoring it to a bigger why and stay flexible, adjusting when life inevitably changes.
So we should be slightly flexible and be consistent. This is true that we start with a strong motivation, but after some time, slowly we again start to away from the activity. So, according to you, the consistency and flexibility, if we do consistency and flexibility, then we can maintain habits, right?
Exactly. It's really about that balance. Consistency gives you the momentum and keeps you on track, while flexibility lets you adapt to real life shifts like a busy week or a change in schedule. So you give yourself a bit of grace, but you keep that steady rhythm going, and that's how you stay on course for the long term.
Okay. And what are the biggest obstacles to building lasting habits?
Yeah, there are a few big ones. One is a lack of clarity. If the habit's too vague, it's hard to stick to. Another is not having a strong enough why. Without a deeper reason, it's easy to drop off. And then there's perfectionism. If you miss a day and beat yourself up, it can derail progress. Plus, lack of a supportive environment or social accountability can make it harder too. So it's really about being intentional, consistency, keeping things simple, and forgiving yourself if you stumble.
Okay. And we should know the why we are doing that activity. Very nice. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, once you have that deeper why, it really gives you a sense of purpose. It helps you push through when motivation dips and it keeps you connected to the bigger picture. So keep checking in with yourself and remembering why you started. That's often what makes all the difference.
Okay. And good. How does procrastination affect habit formation?
Oh, it's a huge roadblock. When we procrastinate, we put off starting or we delay the action, so we never build that initial momentum. Often it's because we get overwhelmed or we crave a quick distraction. And the longer we delay, the harder it is to start. So, breaking down tasks, setting small, doable steps, and just getting started, even imperfectly, can help you push past procrastination and keep those habits on track.
Okay. And why is relying on motivation alone not enough?
Yeah, so motivation is really powerful at the start, but it's pretty fickle. It rises and falls depending on your mood, energy, or circumstances. So if you only rely on that spark, the habit can fizzle out once that initial drive fades. Instead, building systems like a set routine or environmental cues keeps you going even when motivation dips because it's just part of your day.
Okay. Okay. How do distractions in modern
Ah,
life impact our habits?
absolutely. Distractions are everywhere. Social media, notifications, constant information overload, and they really pull us away from those small intentional habits. So to counter that, it helps to create a focused environment, like setting boundaries, using timers, or having a dedicated space for your habit, so you can cut through all that noise and stay on track.
Okay. And what is the best way to start a new habit successfully?
The best way is to keep it really small and specific. Choose a tiny action, something so easy you can't say no, then attach it to an existing habit or routine. Also, set a clear cue, like a time or a trigger, and celebrate small wins. Once that tiny habit is easy, you can gradually scale it up.
Very nice. There are two things: start small and celebrate after every success of the small.
Exactly. Starting small reduces that overwhelm, and celebrating those little wins keeps you motivated. Each small victory reinforces that habit loop, so you start to associate the behavior with positive feelings. Over time, that makes it so much easier to keep going.
Good. Thank you. And what is habit stacking and how can it be applied?
Habit stacking is a really powerful technique. Basically, you take a habit you already do consistently, like brushing your teeth or making coffee, and you stack a new habit right after it. That way, the existing habit acts as a trigger. For example, if you always have coffee in the morning, you could stack a 5 minute journaling session right after. It ties the new habit to something familiar, making it easier to remember and stick to.
All right. So you will attach some additional thing with our main goal with main habit.
Exactly. By anchoring the new habit to something you already do, you reduce the mental effort of remembering and it naturally flows into your day. It's like giving your new habit a built in cue so it becomes part of a seamless routine.
Good. This is called habit stacking. Very nice. Okay. So how can setting clear and specific goals improve habit success?
Yeah, setting clear and specific goals is really important because it gives you a precise target, something you can measure and track. Instead of a vague idea like get healthier, you have a concrete action like run 10 minutes every morning. This clarity reduces confusion, makes it easier to stay on track, and gives you milestones to celebrate along the way, which boosts your confidence and momentum.
Right. And what role does environment design play in shaping habits?
Oh, it plays a huge role. Your environment acts as a constant cue. So if your space is set up to support your habit, like having running shoes by the door or a journal on your desk, It reduces friction and makes it easier to start. When your surroundings align with your goals, you're more likely to follow through. So shaping your environment is like giving yourself a head start.
Fine. And how can tracking progress help in maintaining habits?
Yeah, tracking progress is super motivating because it gives you a visual reminder of how far you've come. Whether it's a journal, an app, or just a simple checklist, seeing those small wins each day builds a sense of accomplishment. It also helps you spot patterns, like if you miss days or if certain triggers are working. And all that awareness keeps you accountable and engaged in the long term.
Fine. And what is the importance of rewards in reinforcing habits?
Rewards are really vital because they give your brain that positive feedback loop. When you get a reward, whether it's a small treat, a feeling of accomplishment, or just a mental pat on the back, your brain links that habit with something good. Over time, this makes you more likely to repeat it because you associate it with a positive payoff.
Fine. Definitely, rewards has more motivating and also memorizing and good. How can accountability improve consistency?
Yeah, accountability is really powerful. When you know someone else is aware of your goal, like a friend, a coach, or even a group, you feel a sense of responsibility. That external check in makes you less likely to skip or slack off. And the regular check ins help keep you on track, even on the tough days when your own motivation might wane.
Okay. And what is the most effective way to break a bad habit?
Yeah, breaking a bad habit often involves disrupting the cue or trigger that sets it off. So you might identify what triggers the habit, like boredom, stress, or a certain environment, and then replace it with a healthier action. Also, reduce friction, make the bad habit harder to do, and build in positive replacement. And don't forget self compassion. If you slip up, just get back on track and keep focusing on the new pattern.
Nice. So, first thing you know the root cause, what is the
Exactly.
cause of that one, and then provide an alternative so that you can remove the bad habits.
Exactly. Once you understand the root cause, whether it's a certain feeling, situation, or trigger, you can consciously replace that habit with a healthier one that meets the same need. And with practice, that new behavior takes hold and the old habit loses its grip.
Fine. How can we identify triggers that lead to bad habits?
Yeah, a great way to identify them is to keep a habit journal. Whenever you notice yourself slipping into the bad habit, jot down what's happening, what time it is, where you are, how you feel. Patterns will start to emerge. You might notice certain emotions, times of day, or environments that trigger it. Once you see those patterns, you can plan ahead and disrupt them before the habit takes over.
Nice. So we need to have habit journal, mean that we write the things which results in the bad habits. Right.
Exactly. By writing them down, you bring awareness to the pattern and you can see exactly what situations, emotions, or times of day set it off. That clarity helps you take proactive steps so you can avoid those triggers or insert new positive habits in their place.
Nice. It is better to eliminate a bad habit or replace it with a good one.
Yeah, usually it's more effective to replace a bad habit with a good one. If you just try to eliminate it, you can end up with a gap that your mind wants to fill. But when you consciously insert a positive habit in its place, something that satisfies a similar need or craving, we're much more likely to stick with the new behavior long term.
Fine. What is the connection between identity and habits?
Ah, that's a really big one. Our habits become part of our identity when we see ourselves as the kind of person who does those things. So instead of just saying, I want to run, you say, I am a runner. When a habit aligns with your sense of self, it feels natural and you're more motivated to keep it up because it's about who you are.
Okay. How can changing your identity help build lasting habits?
Yeah, when you shift your identity, it changes how you see yourself and what you believe is possible. So instead of relying solely on willpower, you act in alignment with that new identity. Like if you see yourself as a healthy eater, you naturally choose better foods. Over time, those habits stick because they're tied to who you are, not just a temporary goal.
Right. Why do people say Focus on systems, not goals.
Yeah, that's a big shift. Goals are about a destination, something you aim for, but systems are about the daily processes that lead you there. When you focus on systems, you don't just get a result, you build habits and routines that keep you improving. So success becomes a byproduct of how you show up every day, not just a one time win.
Okay. And how does self discipline differ from habit building?
That's a great distinction. Self discipline is more like a push, it's a conscious effort often needed at the beginning or when your motivation is low. Habit building, on the other hand, is about making those behaviors automatic, so eventually you can act without relying on constant willpower. In short, discipline gets you started, but habits keep you going.
Right. You mean that the self discipline may be early part of the activity, the later it become our habit building.
Exactly. At first, you need that intentional push, self discipline, to overcome the initial resistance. But as you repeat the action regularly, it becomes automatic. Over time, that habit runs on autopilot, so you don't need to force it. You just do it because it's who you are and what you do.
Right. Nice. What are some examples of powerful habits that can transform our life?
Oh, there are some really impactful ones. For example, daily exercise, even just 20 minutes, can boost your energy and mood. Reading regularly can expand your knowledge and creativity. Journaling can help you process emotions and clarify goals. And things like getting enough sleep, drinking water, or practicing gratitude, those small daily habits can really reshape your mindset and your outcomes.
Very nice. So you have given very nice examples that daily exercise 15 20 minutes and drinking water more and reading every day to increase knowledge, sleep very full sleep for sufficient time like 6 to 8 hours. So that is a
Exactly.
great things. Nice.
I'm really glad those examples resonated. They might seem small on their own, but together they can create such a strong foundation for long term growth and well being.
Right.
So even just starting with one or two of those and staying consistent can really set you up for success.
Okay. And how can professionals like doctors and entrepreneurs build productive habits?
Yeah, for professionals, it's really about intentional prioritization. They can anchor habits to key routines, like starting the day with a specific planning session or scheduling focus blocks of work. Also, they can build habits around self care, like taking short breaks, setting boundaries on digital distractions, and having reflective time at the end of a day. When those habits are tied to their professional goals, they keep them sharp and balanced.
Right. And how can parents instill good habits in children?
Ah, that's a great question. Parents can model the habits they want to see. So if kids see the reading, exercising, or being kind, they'll adopt those behaviors. Also, keep it simple. Build small daily routines like a morning walk or a bedtime story and celebrate progress. Positive reinforcement really helps kids develop those lasting habits.
Yes, definitely parents and family had a big role. I remember my mother is asking to do exercise, and my elder brother always appreciate to do some reading, book reading, and writing a diary. And these are very nice habits.
That's really powerful. And it sounds like those early examples really shaped how you think about daily habits. When kids see that kind of support and consistency at home, those habits feel safe and natural. And it sounds like you got a really great foundation from that.
So, at the end, if you could recommend one habit that can change someone's life, what would it be and why?
Oh, that's a really great question. I think I'd say the habit of daily reflection, even just 5 or 10 minutes. When you pause each day to reflect on what went well, what you learned, and how you felt, you build self awareness. And that clarity helps you make better choices, stay aligned with your goals, and keep growing.
Thank you very much. Very nice talk. Bye.
You're so welcome. I'm really glad we got to talk about this. Take care. And if you ever want to chat again, I'm here. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.